Hey free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. So, I want to find out if we can use Uday for every single one of the Ritual Miracles, that is Kronos, Apep, and Fafnir. Now because she's a free R6, she carries half of Nusi's kit and she also has an attack buff. I feel like she has a lot of value for new players and endgame players alike. So I want to find out for this video whether is she going to be really good or really trash in the Ritual Miracles. So let's find out. So we're going to start off with Kronos, and the way this team works is we have a lot of immunity, we have a lot of cleansing here. That is in the form of Ira, Hengre, and Uday herself. So they all have some kind of cleansing on their kit. And on top of that, we have two DPS Espers. One is meant for defense break, which is going to be the Red Twin, and the other is going to be our DPS, and that is going to be Leon. So we have seer debuffs here, we have defense breaks, we have a lot of damage. Let's see whether this is good enough. But before we get into that, let's take a look at all of our relics. So these are the stats of Leon. I just slapped together a bunch of basically random stats. And the reason why I'm able to do this with so little crit rate is obviously because we have the crit rate lead here. And the same goes for the Black Twin or the Red Twin as well. He has slightly less crit rate, but because we have the crit rate lead and we also have the crit rate buff from his third skill, that is going to be enough crit rate for himself. And we have Ira here, who is extremely speedy. And the reason why I have her built this way is mostly for the Dislyte lens. And I have Hengre here, who is quite fast. But most importantly, she just has a lot of healing power. So you just want her to take a lot more turns. And we finally have Uday with the Ocean set. And that is pretty much it, just speed and Ocean. And that is how I feel like she's going to perform her best. So for a team like this, which is, it's not tailored to any kind of speed orientation or anything like that, we just want to take as many turns as we can, control the AP of the enemies as much as possible. So I think this team is pretty much done. Let's take a look at how this team works. So the first couple of waves, they don't follow any kind of speed tuning. You're just throwing attacks, you're just throwing a lot of DPS, and you're just getting a cooldown reset and all that. And for the mere fact that we have Ocean on both Ira and Uday, that means that our runs are never going to be consistent. It's never always going to be the same every single time you do a run, which is not good or bad. It's just that we are not like, okay, guys gonna like straight away kill everything on the first wave, and then the Black Twins will come in and support on the second wave, and then guys re-nukes everything again. That's not gonna be the case. So it's always gonna be like, you know, just throwing out a lot of attacks. And that's how we get through the first two waves. And unfortunately, this also means that we will not have the defense break at the start of the boss wave, but I think that's still fine because we are attacking a lot. You see that we are taking many turns. So we can start off with the attack buff. Very nice. And even if we get stunned by Kronos' attack, we have Ira to get that Esper out of the stun, which is always helpful. And of course, that protection, that Rising Garment's Watch buff coming from Ira is going to give us immunity as well. So we will not get defense broken, we will not get stunned as well. So that is really good on Leon, because Leon is in the leader spot as well. We need to protect him as much as possible because he's our DPS. So there is that. Okay, so now Hengre is stunned. There is a good chance that we can get her out of the stun state, either via Uday's third skill or by Ira's second skill, which of course did not happen. RIP. But what we will see is Leon throwing a lot of his third attack, right? His third skill. There you go, 133,000. It is decent. It is not an insane amount of damage, but I think it's not bad for the fact that he's spamming it. So he's gonna use it again right after this. And there you go, another layer of Deadly Seer. So we're doing okay. We're doing okay, and I like the fact that Uday brings the cooldown reset, and she also brings the protection. So Leon is very well protected. And of course, Uday also brings the attack up buff, which is not common to see such a combination in Espers that you have. So usually you have Espers like Brynn or Ashley who have attack up buffs, but they don't really bring a lot else. I mean, aside from Ashley, of course, but for the most part, right? For example, you're talking about Alice. She brings the attack up buff every single turn, and that is her main thing. But she does not have like other kinds of support. She might have the speed up buff, but that's about it. And there you go. Easy peasy. So I think Uday works really well in Kronos. There is definitely a way that you can build her with a very free-to-play lineups, right? Something like this. This team is like completely free-to-play. And yes, it did take us quite a few turns. Quite a long run as well. But this just goes to show that RNG is not such a big deal in this lineup. Because if you're able to hold our ground for 2.5 minutes, we can hold our ground for another like 3 minutes, maybe. Now next up we have Apep, and this is going to be a no-brainer, okay? So it can be said that Uday was made exactly for Apep, and the reason why this is the case is obviously because she has a 2 debuff cleanse on each ally. So whenever you attack Apep, you're going to get 2 debuffs, and this is exactly what you need to get rid of all the debuffs. So ideally, I think you want to make her a little bit slower so that the rest of your teammates can get the debuff first before cleansing it, but it really depends on your playstyle here. If you want to get an attack up buff early, then yes, you're going to waste the 2 debuff removal, but this skill is going to come around quite frequently because we have the Ocean set anyway. So here are the stats of my Espers, right? We have Steward here, who is not going to excel in this specific lineup because we are most of the time going to get him out of the sleep status over here. And that means that we're not going to go right into our second skill to land that extra combo attack for free. And of course, we have Joza here, very typical, our disease debuffer. And of course, our defense breaker on his third skill. And then we have Sender, this is also a no-brainer. He's one of the best Espers for Apep. We also have Hengre, like in Kronos, exact same stats. She's going to work really, really well. Alright, so without further ado, let's take a look at this lineup. So do note that this is not a cleaving team, so we're not going to do this with like a super fast timing of like 10 turns or something like that. This team is primarily focused on sustainability and just ensuring that we get our win no matter how long it takes. But this team is still pretty strong because we have the attack up buff, we have the defense break, we have a lot of strong DPS, but if you find that you need more support, you can definitely replace one of either Sender or Steward. They are both primarily just DPS Espers, and it really doesn't matter who you replace. On one hand, it is nice to keep Steward in because Uday is just going to keep recharging his third skill, which does a lot of damage, but at the same time, it also makes a lot of sense to retain Sender just because he does a lot of consistent DPS. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there, but as you can see, whenever we get debuffs, we are just going to cleanse it immediately with Uday's third skill, which is very, very helpful. Wow, big DPS, dude. Apep lost 50% of his HP. So yeah, that's the nice thing about having Steward on this setup. He just does so much damage. And we are going to get Steward's third skill again. Take a look at this. Oh, so close! Nice! Oh my goodness, that was actually a really, really fast run. How fast was this? I feel like this team can potentially be super freaking fast just because we can double nuke. And if we do speed tune this properly and maybe we don't use the ocean set, for example, so that we have a more regular team, 1 minute 18 seconds, that is not bad. That is actually really good. Oh my goodness, that's actually really, really good. I mean, at least for a free-to-play comp, I feel like there is a lot of potential using Uday in this setup. That double nuke from Steward is amazing. Alright, and now we are going to end off with Fafnir. Now, Uday is amazing for this lineup, and all the Espers here are pretty much free to play. Okay, so some might say that Elaine is not free to play because she's only free right now, but I do feel like she is potentially going to be the next fusion Esper for Fafnir. And the reason why I say that is because she fits all the niche points that is needed for Fafnir. You need multi-hits, you need buff strip, and that took me a while, but I guess that's pretty much all you need. So you need a lot of multi-hits, you need buff strip, and that is what she brings to the table. And of course the typing as well, so no more, no less. I do feel like she is potentially going to be a fusion as well for Fafnir. Don't add me on this, I just feel like it has a very high probability right now. Anyway, let's take a look at the relics on this lineup. So we have Elaine here. The way I built her is just like in the previous video that I covered on her. A lot of speed, a lot of accuracy on the ocean set, and we try to have a 100% crit rate on her, but she is going to have a 100% crit rate because of the type advantage that she has against Fafnir. And the reason why that is so important is so that she can transfer debuffs from each of your allies upon a crit. So she's going to return all the diseases, she's going to return all the slows, and I think the stuns as well. Yeah, you can actually remove the stuns on your team this way, which is very, very helpful. And of course, she has a lot of multi-hits, and it's very important that she does have it because, okay, so her third skill, right, it has 5 hits here. Her second skill also has 5 hits. And the reason for that is because we are using Uday on this lineup, and Uday has less than 1 hit on average. But before we get into that, right, let's take a look at the rest of our stats first. So Li Guang has just an offensive kit. We have Meredith here, who is just very speedy. She wants to take a lot of turns just to heal ourselves, give us the speed up buff as well, and try to strip more buffs on her first skill. So just a lot of rotation. And we have Berenice here, who is here for the shield and of course the defense break. And finally, we do have Uday. Same kit as always, right? Same as the entire video. She has the attack up buff, and of course, she also has a cooldown reset on her second skill. So without further ado, let's take a look at this team. So as I was explaining, right, I was mentioning that we need Elaine here for the multi hits just because Uday does not bring enough hits. So Uday on average has less than 1 hit per turn that she takes. So her third skill hits once, her first skill hits once, but her second skill does not hit at all. So that's going to be a problem, especially when the boss has the shield on herself. So when Fafnir has 12 stacks, it's going to be easy for us to deal with it, but if the boss Fafnir has, I don't know, 15 to 21 stacks potentially, that is going to be an issue, especially when our, like, Uday is probably not going to be frozen, right? So she's only going to land like 0.67 hits per turn that she takes, which is, it's going to be a problem for us. So the way this lineup works is we are going to give Elaine a lot of cooldown resets. That is via the form of Uday's second skill, and the reason for that is so that Uday can spam, sorry, the reason for that is because Elaine can spam her second and third skill more effectively. And by allowing her to spam, she's going to steal buffs more frequently, she's going to break more shields. So there's a pretty good synergy over there, I think. So we're going to steal all the buffs here, get ourselves frozen, which is fine. So now we get hit, right? And Uday is going to reset the cooldown of, there you go, Elaine. So by resetting the cooldown of Elaine, we now can steal buffs again, and we can also hit many times. Oh my god, we got super freaking lucky. What the heck, we got super freaking lucky. That normally doesn't happen, but okay, but anyway, so that normally doesn't happen. We are usually able to break the shields very effectively. I'm not sure why that happened. But as you can see here, we are going to steal the buffs again. So very nice. So Elaine combo with Uday is amazing. We just need to make sure that Elaine don't get frozen as often as she might. And I don't think she gets frozen all that often as well, because her damage output is not crazy high, right? So it's usually only going to be Li Guang who gets her ass frozen. So there you go. The next turn that Elaine takes, she's going to be able to buff strip, which we are not going to see because she's frozen again. So it might be a good idea to have Elaine deal very little damage. So just give her 100% crit rate with little emphasis on crit damage, especially if you're like in the early game and you need a way to effectively steal buffs, right? Without needing to worry about having your main shield breaker become frozen like what happened in this video itself, like a couple of times. So there you go, KFC is now frozen again, and we removed all the buffs that the boss has. So that's a pretty nice showcase, I think, aside from the fact that we got pretty lucky at the start. But for the most part, this team tends to work really well. I mean, Fafnir is probably one of the easier bosses to deal with, especially at F16. Like, amongst the 3 bosses, Fafnir is definitely the easiest in the 16th difficulty. He is going to be harder at the start because you need specific espers for the team to work. But for the most part, you can also use free-to-play espers like what I'm using right now. It's going to work really well. So that's it for this run, and that's it for the end of the Ritual Miracles using Uday. Pretty exciting stuff. So I really love the combination between Uday and Elaine here, just giving Elaine a lot of free hits in without needing to invest any skill ups into Elaine at all. And I think that's like one of the main reasons why Uday is so strong. And the reason is because your main esper no longer needs to worry about cooldown management. You can just use a very speedy Uday to perform the cooldown management for your main esper, and that is Elaine in this case. So that's it for this video. These are the 3 Ritual Miracle runs done with Uday in the mix. So Uday is definitely going to be the next one of the best free-to-play espers right now. So definitely do try to get your hands on your R6 Uday. She's going to help out a lot, especially for like early game players, mid game players, and even end game players, but it's probably not going to be Ritual Miracles, it's going to be other content. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If any other comments you want to raise to me as well, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's content. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, it really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Derek Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.